That night, she aimed a gun at the men who broke into her mansion. But instead of fear, she saw tears in his eyes. He wasn't there to steal diamonds. He was there to steal food. What she did next changed both their lives forever. And by the time the truth came out, she realized who the real thief was. Stay till the end, because the men she caught red-handed will teach her the greatest lesson money could never buy. The rain poured like the heavens themselves were weeping that night. Inside her glass-walled mansion on the edge of the city, Amelia Cross, a 32-year-old billionaire heiress, stared blankly at the glowing skyline. Her life was perfect on paper: luxury cars, designer dresses, a successful empire left by her late father. But inside, she was hollow, surrounded by walls money couldn't fill. Since her father's death 2 years ago, Amelia had buried herself in work, keeping everyone at a distance. She didn't believe in love, friendship, or second chances. To her, the world was full of people who only saw her for her bank account. Then, one stormy night, everything changed. It was almost midnight when the security alarm blared through the mansion. Amelia grabbed her father's old revolver from the drawer and rushed downstairs, her heart pounding. The lights flickered as thunder crashed outside. There, near the kitchen, stood a man in drenched clothes, his hands trembling, stuffing bread into a small bag. "Don't move," Amelia shouted. The man froze. Slowly, he turned around. His face was young, barely 30, but tired, rugged, and desperate. His eyes weren't the eyes of a criminal. They were the eyes of someone who'd already lost everything. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just needed something to eat." His voice broke. Amelia's grip on the gun loosened. "Who are you?" she asked coldly. "My name's Eli Turner," he said, lowering his gaze. "I used to be a mechanic. Lost my job, lost my home, and my sister's sick. I tried everywhere. No one helped. I just wanted to bring her food." For a moment, the thunder outside was the only sound. Amelia should have called the police. She should have screamed for security. But instead, she said something she didn't even understand herself. "Sit down." Eli stared at her in disbelief. "I said, sit down," she repeated. "If you're going to steal, at least eat first." That night, Amelia sat across the table from the men who had broken into her house. She served him soup and bread, her father's old recipe, and watched as he ate slowly, almost ashamed. Something in his humility broke through the walls she'd built around her heart. Before leaving, Eli whispered, "Thank you. You don't know what this means." Amelia didn't reply. She just said, "If I ever see you breaking into another house again, I'll make sure you regret it." But when he was gone, she couldn't stop thinking about him. For the first time in years, she felt something that wasn't loneliness or anger. She felt alive. Days passed. Amelia returned to her work, pretending nothing happened. But late at night, she'd look out the window and think of Eli's trembling hands, his quiet gratitude. One morning, she decided to find him. Using her resources, she tracked down a small homeless shelter near the edge of the city. And there he was, fixing a broken generator, his sleeves rolled up, trying to keep the lights on for others. He looked up, startled. "You." Amelia smiled faintly. "You left your bag behind." She held up the old bag he'd dropped that night. He blinked, confused. "Why did you come?" She hesitated. "Because I realized something. You didn't break into my home that night. You broke into my heart." Eli laughed softly, shaking his head. "You've got everything, Miss Cross. You don't need people like me." She stepped closer. "That's where you're wrong. I have everything except what you have." He frowned. "What do I have?" "Purpose," she whispered. "A reason to care." From that day, Amelia began volunteering at the shelter, quietly funding food supplies, repairs, and medical bills. She worked beside Eli, not above him. Together, they built something that mattered, not for profit, not for reputation, but for humanity. As months passed, the icy woman the world once feared began to thaw. She laughed again. She smiled again. One afternoon, she asked Eli, "Why didn't you just ask for help that night?" He looked at her, eyes soft. Because I stopped believing people cared. You proved me wrong. And just like that, the thief who had once stolen food began to steal her heart. But Amelia didn't realize how deeply he'd changed her life until one fateful day. The shelter caught fire during a storm. Eli ran in to save the children trapped inside, and didn't come out for several minutes. When he finally did, his hands were burned, his clothes torn, but every single child was safe. Amelia ran to him, tears streaming down. Why would you risk your life? He smiled weakly. Because someone once gave me a second chance. I just wanted to do the same. She held him tightly, sobbing. You idiot, you saved me too, that night. You just didn't know it. Months later, Amelia established a foundation in Eli's name, the Turner Hope Project, helping thousands of struggling families find food, shelter, and purpose. And every time she walked through the shelter, she'd whisper to herself, I was rich in money, but poor in meaning. He stole my emptiness, and gave me a life worth living.